هلو عسلامة ومرحبا بكم الناس الكل. رجعنا لكم في فيديو جديدة من البودكاست متاعنا، واليوم الفيديو باش يكون in English as usual. السبتايتل تلقاوه من اللوطة. دونك hello Mr. Abdelfettah, how are you
Assalamu alaikum.
doing?
Hello. Good, I'm good.
بابيك.
Thank you.
By the way, Mr. Abdelfettah, he was our first guest في البودكاست متاعنا from 2 years ago. And today we will try to speak a little bit about something. It's not super new in Google, but something people start speaking about it too much. That's why we have the best person to give us the a good idea about it. First of all, let's say hi to Mr. Abdelfettah. And can you describe yourself, Mr. Abdelfettah?
Yeah, so hi everyone. Or Abdelfettah is my real name. I'm a developer advocate at Google. I've been at the company for almost 13 years. I work on things related to cloud native and Kubernetes and infrastructure, and now AI because everybody's doing AI. So.
Yeah, that's true. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. You are always being here when we need you, Mr. Abdelfettah. Thank you so much. And today we will speak about something, let's say it's a little bit technical, not as always we speak about the community and so on. Today we will understand more the anti-gravity, let's say. First of all, can you please give us description or an idea about anti-gravity?
Yeah. So Antigravity is Google's main AI agentic coding tool. So it's our version of like if you have heard of Cursor before or Windsurf or those tools that people use to do like AI coding. Antigravity is the Google version. It comes in basically 3 forms. There is an anti-gravity application, there is an anti-gravity IDE, and there is an anti-gravity CLI. The common thing between these 3 applications or 3 interfaces, if you want, is that they all use Gemini behind the scene. So they are all support Gemini as a first-party model. But the different tools can be used by different people depending on what you're trying to achieve. If you just want to vibe code, basically, and you don't want to touch code at all, then you use the Antigravity application itself, which is what we used to call the agent manager, but now it's the Antigravity 2.0 application. Then if you need to be able to touch code or edit code or view code, you can either switch to your own IDE. I personally do not use the Antigravity IDE. I use Visual Studio Code. But you can use the Antigravity IDE as an option. And then the third one is CLI, and that's basically command line.
Amazing. Then here we are speaking about code for everyone, let's say.
Yep.
Then people, they didn't want to be expert or having a big experience in coding to build an application or a mobile app.
I mean, if you don't have experience as a developer, use Antigravity, the application. That's your vibe coding tool. You also have another option to use just AI Studio in the web if you want. The IDE and the CLI are more for like experienced developers.
Amazing. Then you mentioned something super famous nowadays is the vibe coding.
Yeah.
Can you give us an idea about it for people they didn't know about what is vibe coding?
I mean, vibe coding is a very funny word. It's just basically when you are developing application without writing code. It's you use an AI as your main interface, and you are just prompting the AI in natural language, and the AI will generate the code for you, right? I don't remember what was the origin of the word. I don't know who actually created it in the first place. I don't remember, but it's a term that showed up on the internet, I think 2-3 years ago, and now everybody is talking about vibe coding. Yeah.
Amazing. Then here we can confirm that my grandpa can build an application.
Dude, that's a pretty good question. I don't think so, because I think that in order to vibe code an application, you still need to be able to describe what your application should be doing. Okay. And so you have to have some sort of like basic idea about what the application should be doing. You don't necessarily have to know how the application will be built. I would say it's a tool that is mainly, for example, for non-developers who are experts in a domain, let's say marketing or content creator. and you have an idea about what you want, you just don't know how to code it. So you would describe what you want in natural language to an AI, and the AI will try its best to generate the code for you.
Amazing. Then they need to know the architecture, let's say, of the thing that they want to build it. Then the Antigravity is the best way to build it.
You don't necessarily need to know architecture. You have to be able to describe like some sort of components. For example, if you need your application to store data, then you need to be able to tell the Antigravity, I need a database, right? Or if you need, your application has to have a front end, you need to be able to describe that, and you need to be able to describe how the front end looks like. Like, how many buttons do you need, how the menu will look like, stuff like that. So AI is actually not as capable as people think it is, because it's not going to invent stuff out of the blue. It will just follow the prompt you give it as best as it can. And so if you're not able to write a good prompt, you might not end up with a good result, right?
Amazing. Then which language is the Antigravity support? Just English, or there is other?
I believe for now only English.
I think so.
I haven't tested other languages, but I think for now it's only English, yeah.
Yeah, and always when we use those type of AI models or agents, always I see that English is the best language to find a good result.
Well, I guess it's because most of these tools are built by English speakers, so yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, I think so. Then we see that there is a lot of AI tools built it by other companies. Why or what's the best thing about Antigravity? What's the special thing or the top, let's say, thing?
Yeah, I mean, Antigravity is designed from scratch to work best with Gemini. You could, of course, switch. I think you could choose other type of models. You could even use it like through Opus or through, I don't remember which other models it supports, but it's mostly like designed to work with Gemini. So if you want to use Gemini as the coding model, then Antigravity is the best way to do it, because the thing with this, like with the AI as a coding assistant or as a coding tool, is that when you are as a developer prompting the AI to do things for you, like what you don't see, like you have an interface, you write your prompt and then you send it.
Yeah.
But behind the scene, the application that you are using will actually send like a whole lot of system prompts, system instructions, rules, things like that. Those are not, you don't write them. It's the Antigravity in this case will send them automatically to the model. So Antigravity was designed specifically to leverage or to use Gemini as the coding model.
That's amazing. Then it's super quick. I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago, developer has a big issue, have a lot of problems with codes. But now we see that the big company, especially Google, they are working too much and about making things easier.
Yes. Yeah, that's I think that's what most of these big companies are trying to do. Like the way I say myself is, with AI, code is becoming a commodity, since AI can generate code. So I think we're right now, I think we're past the point of just making the AI generate code, because it can already do that. Now we are at the point of like trying to figure out how to leverage these tools to be more productive as developers, right?
Amazing. Then for you as an expert, let's say, and you use Antigravity.
Yes.
What's the biggest challenge and the point that if you have the opportunity to make it better, you will?
Yeah, there are a few challenges, of course. My experience with Antigravity as a coding tool will be very, very different than other people experiences, because I have the experience as a developer.
Yeah.
So when I'm writing instructions, I know exactly what I'm doing. I know I know what I'm writing, and I know what to expect, and I know what I am waiting for, quotes on quotes, from the model itself. But if I would probably make it better. So the thing when you start using these tools, it's like for developers, it's like anything that you are using to do your work, right? You start using a tool, and then over time you start automating your workflows. You start putting in place maybe scripts, maybe custom code to make your life easier, right? So, for example, if I am working on an application that I am developing locally but trying to push to Google Cloud Run, for example, or to Google Kubernetes Engine, like between writing code and doing the deployments, there is maybe 4 or 5 or 6 command lines that I have to run to like package the code, build it as a container, push it somewhere, then push it to like deploy it. So usually what I will end up doing is that I will end up just either finding a tool that can automate all of this or building my own, right? And so with Antigravity, you still need to build this stuff yourself, right? You still need to build those like automation tools yourself. Now, granted, it's easier. And usually when I'm starting new projects, actually my second prompt to Antigravity is to ask Antigravity to create deployment scripts for me. And then once I have the deployment scripts ready and I review them and I make sure they work, and then I will write instructions to Antigravity. Normally you write instructions in a markdown file. So in this case, Gemini.md. And then in those instructions, I tell the Antigravity that each time I prompt it to change code, it should automatically use the script to deploy it for me.
That's amazing. We go super deep, let's say, in this tool, but there is a question in my mind. It's if Antigravity, we can build a very big and real project, or it's, let's say, something more commercial.
Yeah.
For someone have a real big project, something real, let's say, for
like a business application.
Voila, is.
Yeah, I mean, you can. I think that the main challenge you're going to face is, A is architecture. Like, how are you going to architect this entire system? And then B I think there are three important components, right? So like if you're going to build a real business application using Antigravity, A, you need to do a lot of work upfront to document how the architecture of the system looks like, right? B, you're probably going to have to write some tests to validate that the code the AI generated is correct. And we'll get back to this in a second. And maybe C, you might face a challenge if your code base end up being very big, or let's say you are working on an existing code base which has like hundreds and thousands of lines of code, then you might end up with a context problem, because most models have a context window, like a limited context window. For Gemini 3.5 Flash, it's 1 million tokens. 1 million tokens is just enough, I think, for like 30 or 40,000 lines of code. So if your code base ends up like bigger or like more than, let's say, 50K lines of code, then you might face a real problem that the model doesn't know. And so there are a few tricks to solve these issues. On the testing part, what you could do is you could actually, this practice have existed in software engineering before. It's called TDD, test-driven development, right? So instead of starting by writing code, you start by writing tests first, and then you write code that validates or that make the test pass. With AI, what you could do is you could start by writing the tests. The tests will validate that the logic that the AI will implement meets the business requirements, right? That's the first thing. So you start by doing that first. You write all the tests and you validate them. Like you review them, you make sure they make sense. And then you start prompting Gemini to generate the code that will make the tests pass, right? So this is for test-driven developments. The second part, which is the context window, actually, if you are using Antigravity IDE or Antigravity CLI, they both support tagging. So you could actually add a specific file if you know exactly that you want to make modifications only to a specific file. Because if you don't do that, what Antigravity will do is it will take the entire code base and send it to Gemini, right? So you might want it to be targeted. The funny part about all of this is that this is nothing new in software engineering because we have already been doing this for a while, right? We have already been teaching developers how to write tests, how to validate business logic, how to write document architecture, etc. So it's just basically the same practices that you have been doing so far. You just need to keep doing them.
Okay, then guys, it's not easy like we thought. For advanced project, you need to have experience.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
true.
Yeah. You can't code an advanced project for sure.
Then my grandfather, he can build an application with anti-gravity.
If you're curious, actually, the people who are gonna watch this, if you're curious, there is a talk I did at a conference called DevBCN in Barcelona 2 weeks ago. I did a keynote for 30 minutes, and it's going to be on YouTube because it was recorded, and it was about like a project that I worked on where we helped the customer migrate an existing Ruby app code base that has 100,000 lines of code and migrate that to like a modern, so from a monolith application to a modern microservice based cloud native project using Antigravity. And so if you watch the talk, I talk actually about the process and what we have learned through that. Just DevBCN 2026 and you'll find it.
Amazing. You will find the link of the talk in the description, and it's highly recommended, guys. Then, can you just give us the? I know you are working with Google, and you don't build, let's say, a super advanced application. But what's the best application, or where exactly you got surprised from what you built?
Like got surprised with the tools, with
With the
Antigravity?
tool, yes.
Yeah. There are a few things that were quite interesting. This talk that I talked about, this project that we worked with the customer, I noticed because we worked with the developers from the customer, right? And I noticed actually that developers kind of fit into different categories. Some developers, what they do is that they will write a prompt, and then they will just like accept every single edit that the Antigravity tells them. Like they will just say yes to everything, right? And then there is another type of developers, kind of like me, which is I write a prompt, and then I monitor what Antigravity is doing. And sometimes I actually don't even use Antigravity to fix a problem. So if I see a bug, I will go and fix it myself. Because I know where it's coming from, right?
Exactly, yeah.
The other thing that's I am surprised with, I am not a front-end developer, and Antigravity generates like amazing UIs. So for front-end development, I am always impressed by the quality and the how nice and how clean the interface is.
Front-end developers.
Yes, exactly.